Welcome to the Realtors Conspiracy Podcast, where we crack the code to real estate success. I'm here today with Clinton Howell from Remax Escarpment to talk about buying agents, buying process in real estate. Clinton, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I'd like to thank you for this amazing painting we got for our podcast now. It's going to be
absolutely
a great
my pleasure. Yeah, one of my passions in life is painting, and I'm thrilled that you like the work. Yeah,
Thank you.
It's a real honor.
Nice. Tell us about buying. Like, how do you work with buyers? Where do you find them?
Usually, I go looking under rocks.
Yeah.
Buyers, it comes down to just networking and meeting people and just being out there. You just never know. I mean, someone who wasn't thinking about buying a month ago might all of a sudden be inspired to move. So you'll meet them. Who knows where? You might just meet them at a party or at a social function, or could be at a chamber of commerce meeting. You never know. A lot of buyers might come just from repeat clients too, right? Yeah. And then there's the old knocking on doors and advertising and all those methods too. So website, buyers can come from anywhere. Pretty well anywhere, yeah. So yeah.
How do you find it was negotiating to buy a house last year versus this year? Because I know last year was really, really hard.
Yeah.
This year, tell us the difference.
Last year there wasn't a whole lot of negotiating going on. It was more just putting your best foot forward and hoping for the best. Yeah, there's so much bidding wars last year. Crazy. It wasn't a normal market. It was kind of a fake market.
Yeah.
It's not like that usually.
Are we back to normal, you think?
It's more normal now, very much so, yeah. So I mean, really, really well priced, really well cared for homes are selling quickly, within normal sort of days on market. If we take say downtown Burlington, for example, I mean right now the average days on market is kind of 30 to 40 days, which is quite normal, right? Where last year, a lot of stuff would come on the market and it'd be sold like the same day, with 12 offers or stuff like this. It's crazy, right? And people would be paying too much, actually, and running into problems, because there turned out to be a lot of issues with a lot of those sales that went through last spring, in terms of the banks appraising the homes, a week or two before closing and saying, oh, you're paying $800,000 for that place? Well, we think it's worth $650. So yeah, we'll still give you your mortgage, but it'll be based on $650 and not $800, and you got to come up with the other $150,000, and you're moving in 2 weeks, so good luck with that.
Yeah.
Right? This happens, still happening, and so it's very it's dangerous. And as a realtor, I feel responsible for educating my buyer that, if you're going into a bidding war, just know that the value of the home needs to line up with the comparables, with the market. Like the bank's going to look at comparables. So we need to kind of do our homework. I need to do my homework to make sure that what you're wanting to buy and what you're willing to pay for it actually makes sense, or at least that that if you're willing to pay more for it, because this is the house, this is the one. I don't care if I'm paying $50,000 too much. You need to know that $50,000 too much may be coming out of your pocket and not on your mortgage.
Yeah. What's your approach, I guess, in that terms with working with buyers to prepare them, walk them through the process before?
Well, the approach really is just finding the right places, right? So setting the art really is in educating people about the different neighborhoods. Because a lot of buyers don't necessarily know exactly what they want yet. They have an idea, the sort of style of home that they like. Maybe they know that they want a 2-story, 4-bedroom, or they want a bungalow with a pool, or there's certain things, but they don't know necessarily if it's going to be, more modern or more traditional, or they just kind of have an idea of some things they like, right? And you can't necessarily put in your order and get exactly what you want unless you're building a custom home, and you've got more leeway that way.
Yeah.
But so it's really educating about the different neighborhoods, opening up some people's minds sometimes about maybe some other styles of homes or other areas that might work for them as well. And then what I try to do is set up really targeted auto email campaigns, so they start getting notifications as soon as anything comes on the market. And I really encourage them to look at each one, whether they like it or don't like it, and to kind of give me some feedback along the way, because what I try and do is look at each one as well. So I don't just wait to hear from them. I'm looking at every new listing that comes out, everything that's reducing in price, everything that's sold, and studying, really understanding everything about that style of home, those neighborhoods, so I can advise them really well, but also so that as I get to hear their feedback and know what they want and what they don't want, if something comes up, maybe they didn't catch that email, they're busy with meetings or work or on vacation or who knows, but I can bring it to their attention. Hey, did you see this one? And they say, oh, you actually didn't notice that one, but it is right up our alley. And then, so a lot of times I've found properties for people that way because I'm doing the homework alongside them. So the teamwork, really works. And
by doing the homework, do you find you find more houses than, because there's a lot of people who think they don't need a realtor, they can just find everything on MLS. Mm-hmm. What is different with you being, when you work with a buyer as buyer agent, what's the extra that you can provide than me going on MLS looking for houses?
It's a great question. I mean, basically, I'd say the one thing is that when you're buying a place, you don't have to pay the realtor. So you might as well have someone else working for you. It's free. Yeah. As far as you're concerned as the buyer. I mean, the seller pays all the commission. So you might as well, when you're selling, you got to pay. So when you're buying, you might as well take advantage of those services. So yeah, it put me to work. I mean, basically, a lot of my clients really like the fact that I'm willing to go and preview houses for them and scratch things off the list without them having to take time away from their family or the things that they want to do. So, and also me doing that homework and that research. Sometimes I might even preview some homes without even telling them, because if I'm not 100% sure, maybe 50-50, I'll go and preview and say, look, I previewed this place. I really like it. You might want to come see it, and then we'll book a showing for them. So yeah, it just sort of takes a lot of the guesswork and a lot of the legwork out of it for the buyers. And also too, I think in a general sense, it's fair to say, I think you'd agree that decisions that are made with more minds are usually better than ones that are made by one or two people. So if you add the third brain in there and plus the experience, usually end up with better decisions. And also negotiating too, right? I mean, most people don't have jobs that they're negotiating every day, but realtors are. So we know the other strategies and games that seller agents can play, so you kind of know what's real and what's not.
Do you have a couple you can share with us? A couple of
games?
examples and games?
I can tell you kind of a cool story of how I won a bidding war.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. So it was for a small home in Cambridge, actually. Okay. And around the $400,000 price point. I was working with a close friend who's also a first-time buyer. And so we had a certain kind of budget, loosely in mind and stuff. So we were looking and going through the whole process. And this particular home came up, and we knew it was going to be popular, right? Because it was nice enough, it's on a nice property, good size, and I knew right away that it was priced for bidding war, and it's not rocket science when they say, accepting offers on such and such date to know that they're expecting a bidding war, especially last spring, right? Yeah. When everything was a bidding war. So I told my client, I said, look, they're setting this thing up for a bidding war. So, it's priced below market. I did my research on it, and I kind of felt like the place will be worth, $420 or $430, and it was priced at something like $359 or something like that. I said, so you're going to have to offer more than this. They might as well be priced at $1 because $359 is not real. And they're like, oh, well, how much more? And would $380 be enough? And I said, well, when I did the comps and looked at everything, I said it's probably more like $420 to $430 range. And they're like, well, it's a little more than we wanted to spend, but if that's the area we want to be in, and we want to get something like this. So what if we offered $385? I said, look, I will put $385 on the paper. Okay. And I said, what we're going to do, there's this thing called a Form 801. So I basically told no one knows unless you're a realtor what a Form 801 is. So Form 801 basically means we've got a registered offer. Okay. But if you submit the Form 801, that just means that the selling realtor knows that there's an offer and it's signed and it's registered, but they don't know the details of it. Okay. Okay. So what's good with this Form 801 thing is that you can kind of keep your details private until it comes time to actually presenting the offer, right? Whoa, okay. So I submit the Form 801, and I basically made a special request. I said, it's not special to want to present in person. That's pretty common, but a lot of agents don't bother. They just email the offer in, right? So I said, I insist. I want to present in person. I want to present with you and your seller present, but I want to make a special request that I would like to present be your last presentation. Okay, and so I found out the time for the presentations and stuff, and the selling agent said, what time to come. And so I was waiting she was actually a RE/MAX agent as well, waiting at the Cambridge office. And I brought my buyer along with me to sit in the parking lot, just in case we needed anything, right? Yeah. I wanted to be prepared, right? And so when I went into the presentation, I went through everything to do with our offer and stuff, but I made sure right up front that they knew. I said, my client really wants the house, okay? And I know you've got, there was actually 7 offers, okay? I said, I know you told me there's 7 offers, so I'm sure one or two of the other offers have a better price than this. Chances are, right?
Yeah.
But my client really wants the house, right? So I want you to just know that and know that they're great people. I told them about the people, and this is their first time purchasing, and they wanted to make, not so much. People don't really care. They just want their money, right? But it's still, you kind of want to know that someone decent is buying your place, and they're not just buying it to flip it or something.
Yeah.
So I essentially said, look, they really want the place. Our number might not be the number that you want, but we're here. I'm here. I don't see any other realtors here, and there wasn't. There's no one else presenting in person, just us. And my client's in the parking lot. Yeah. I said, so give us, if you want to sign this back to us, sign it back and give us 7 minutes. 7 minutes to deal with your counteroffer. Right? So what do you have to lose? Basically, all you have to lose is 7 minutes of your time, and you can move on to the other 6 offers.
Yeah.
Right? We're here. Give us 7 minutes.
And at that point, they saw all other 6 offers.
They've seen everything at that point, right? They said, okay, well, this is kind of unusual, the seller agent said. And I said, well, I agree, but I don't like doing things the normal way. I said, basically, I'm here, my buyer's here, I don't see anybody else in the room, and there's nothing unethical or against any rules to counteroffer. No. That's all legit. Okay. And basically, we're going to either accept it, or we're going to say, sorry, we're not, or then your counteroffer is going to expire and you can move on. So there's no rules being broken here. Mm-hmm. And I don't know anything that I shouldn't know, and neither do you. So here you go. So I went out in the parking lot, and 15 minutes later, I got a text. We have a counteroffer for you. Beauty. Yeah.
So you have 7 minutes to
Literally. Yeah. They put 7 minutes on that irrevocable, just like I said. Okay. And we looked at it, and I went out and spoke with my buyer. We went through it, and again, it was about a year ago, but it was around 420, kind of where we were expecting. And anyway, they accepted it and they won the bidding war.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you think that preparing them at the 420 mark helped a ton?
I think so. I think because it wasn't. I mean, because it was somewhat expected, right? Yeah. It was expected, and also too. I mean, I showed them comparables. Look, can you see that these other 3 houses look very similar to yours and similar state of finish and stuff like that? So it wasn't a big shock, right?
Yeah. So I feel like you took the time. Did the research, were smart about your offer, prepared your buyers, so why not win at that point? Well,
and we won fair and square, and but we didn't have the best offer going in.
No.
Right?
385 you came in at.
Right.
Yeah. So no, that's smart.
That's
really
right.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's a little more you do for your buyers.
Yeah, well, basically, just that extra work, the homework and stuff. Yeah. But, I didn't try to force them in any way to put an offer that they weren't comfortable with. No. And they didn't have to accept that counteroffer either. So these were just decisions that they made. Yeah. And I just gave them I try and give them the information so they can make the decisions. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, no, I do 100%. Yeah. No,
keep in touch?
Stay in touch. Yeah.
Yeah. All your buyers that you work with, you keep in touch in case.
Try and stay in touch with all my clients and in general. Yeah.
Yeah. What are different ideas that you have for closing gifts for buyers?
Closing gifts. Well, it's different for each person. I usually try and get to know my client well enough to know what they would like, Yeah. So I know not to buy you dairy, for example, right?
No. Ice cream. No.
Exactly, right. But no, so I for some it'd be a nice fine bottle of wine, and for others might be a small piece of furniture that makes sense for their place, or. Okay. For others that are embarking on some renovation costs, maybe it's a gift card for Home Depot, whatever's appropriate, So something that's.
It's all come down to what you said in the other episode, where you say you have to be a good listener to be a good realtor. Again, it's the same thing. You don't just give a gift card.
That's it. I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to buy a case of something at Costco and expect it's going to be the right gift for everyone. Yeah. I treat the gifts just like if I was buying a gift for someone for their birthday or Christmas, or I think about that person and buy them a gift. It's not like I've got a whole bunch of them sitting there.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. What's your favorite part about the buying process?
The buying process, it's fun looking through the homes and getting to know your client, because something that I might like, they might hate. It's especially fun when you walk into a place and they're like, oh my goodness, they have the same books as me, and they have the same kids' toys as us, and they have the same. We have this wall color in our dining room already. You can. okay, so it's the same kind of people that live here, and that makes sense why you like this house. So it's kind of neat when something just like, this is the place.
Yeah.
So it's like the aha moment, and then you got to figure out, okay, so how are we going to buy this?
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
What would be a good tip you'd give to someone to be a better buyer agent?
A better buyer agent? Basically, I think one of the biggest things is being willing to do the homework and the legwork, like previewing properties and really studying the various listings and really helping your client to find the right home. It's too, as a realtor, there's so much to do. Like there's so much to do every day, like activity wise, and it's easy to get wrapped up in all that. And you need to be able to find that time and make it a priority to be doing that homework and that research to do a better job, like offer more value. Yeah.
So again, it's a lot more time than people think.
It's more time than you think, yeah. But then you get, well, then you know what? When you put in the time and you find the property that someone really loves and they go ahead with it, then you're more likely to get a referral.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So you can save time on hustling and having to
door knock.
Your business comes to you easier by doing this other work instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart. I like it.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Thanks
Thank you
for sharing all the secret tips with us. And thank you everyone for tuning in to Realtors Conspiracy Podcast, and tune in for next week.